Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Leiiluy nishmasimi merosi ruspas Mordechai and schos akiva simcha ben fega. So yesterday somebody dropped this off at my desk. I had no idea what this was in middle shir. This is by Eli Bernstein. Unbelievable. He's that kid. He's just a kid. Look how beautiful. Made out of wood. Look at these letters. Look at the detail. It's like literally like a CNC or something. Unbelievable. Beautiful. Mamish, nice stuff. This is from Eddie Balin. Starting off the day with a daf instead of a cigar. LOL. K29, Canarsi. Daffing in the morning is a priority even for the critical care paramedic. Canarsi. No, what's K? Kanasi. Kanasi. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Isaac? Alone, from where? Brooklyn, New York. Yofi. Every day it's the same story. It's one email from me and one email from another guy in this year. I'm not going to say his name. It's going to be a surprise. So Yichap who it is. Join your daf back in Maseches Yoma. I've been full force since, besides the daily high I get from your daf. Hi. You always speak about the camaraderie that the MDY Chever have. This past week, I was blown away by one of the Muncie participants, Mo Landy. Besides that, he's always hosting get-togethers. He recently put out a chat that he's going to be at the Kever of Shiloh from Krispin, and he sent a form, a Google form, asking the Chever to fill it out so he can daven for them. This is the next level chesed. Chesed, Rabbi Sai, chesed with Torah. Going on a personal trip, but yet asking his MDY family if he can daven on their behalf. Recently at the local Muncie MDY, see on Rosh Hashanah on Shabbos. He's finishing the last day of Rosh Hashanah. My 11-year-old son, Moshe Yehuda, asked if I can finish it up so he can accompany me to grow and cross the finish line. I took my two sons with me to see him. They enjoyed the lavish dairy buffet. They danced along with the Chever to MDY theme song. It's Kishmak to the Daf. Later that evening, my 8-year-old Shmuel was jumping on his bed to the words, it's Kishmak to be a Yid. My 11-year-old said, Daddy, tonight's learning of Rosh Hashanah is best. Listen to this. Tonight's learning, his kid said, tonight's learning of Rosh Hashanah was the best learning I have ever experienced. He has since taken upon himself to learn Taanis. See attached him listening to Yudaf on Naki radio. That's what it's called, Naki? Naki. Oh, Naki radio. Here he is. And Yosef said that we're on Naki radio. How else? It took some time to get on there. Another place I didn't know we're on. Okay, Naki. I don't have it. We have on Naki radio. P.S. Best regards to Nachman Seltzer. Besides the many talents that he has, one of them he might not have revealed yet, he was the official trumpet player in our class band back in Stalin. Is there a school that you didn't go to? Is there a guy that hasn't been in your shir? Wow. So we have a lot of... I was a table drummer. We jammed together every time our Rebbe would walk. Oh, looking forward to the next trip to New York. The oil is patiently waiting your return. Your Talmud, Shmari. Zeilengold. You remembered your last name, Shmari. Was noch? We have another minute only. Oy, we're running out of time here. The Rebbe Eli has been trying to persuade my friends in the Minyan to start the daf, especially with the MDY shir. At least 3 guys started in the last few weeks, Baruch Hashem. Well, apparently my words sunk in because over the past week, my amazing 13-year-old, there's a 13-year-old who has been listening to my whatever the word is, and watching me learn with the shir, decided to join the shir. So here's a picture of Moshe, who's in the 7th grade, was bar mitzvah this past summer, and is keeping along with Maseches Taanis. Thank you so much for making the shir entertaining, exciting while showing Moshe the Mesikus HaTorah, Avi Goldenberg. Something I noticed over here. What's that drumming over there? Maybe Avi, yeah. Do you notice what I notice? I noticed the tzitzis right over here. Tzitzis in America, outside, Givaldic. Okay, Maseches Taanis is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. Refuah Shleima from Miriam Esther Bas Devora. The Koilol, the sponsor of the month of the Koilol, is Chaim from Lakewood. We already have another sponsor, Baruch Hashem, for next month. If anybody wants a day or an hour, it's also available. That's the idea is everybody should be involved. Chodesh Kislev is sponsored by Leiiluy. Leiiluy Pנחas ben Moshe, Leiiluy Pנחas, Yisroel Zesha ben Avraham. Also, Parnas HaChodesh, Reuven Klein, for his mother, Nechama bas Calev. Parnas HaChodesh, the Hanas Bros, in honor of the Hanasabzadeh, Krispin, and Benazera Families, and Shlomo Lalezarian, who inspires to join MDY. Serayah Strimling, Leiiluy Nishmas Leibish Velvel Ben Yisroel Zesha Larry Shon on the first yard side. Daniel and Cyril Cohen. Refuah Shleima for Gavril Ben Yomen Ben Cyril Puromah. Refuah Shleima. Evan Weinstein, my father Ben Yomen Ben Avraham is the Shom Shen Evan Aliyah, and please ask Hashem. What do most people want? Please, what do you say? Health. Obviously, he has health. Please ask Hashem to bless us with many, many cars. Peretz Chaim Levine, in honor of our Rebbe Rav Eli. Special thanks to Nesanel Ganz for all his hard work in coordinating the MDY booth at the Agudah Convention, which starts today. Rabbi Isai, it's unbelievable. Check out the Agudah Convention booth because it's going to be phenomenal. And if you're there in the Agudah Convention, maybe you could help out or something. Whatever. Say a good word to the guys. They're bringing along almost 500 Gemaras. See what happens. It could be one of those busts. 20 sign-ups in 3 days. Now, there's 3 days, and I think they're still looking for people because it's like Thursday, and it's Friday. You have to get home before Shabbos or stay at the hotel. Motzi Shabbos Sunday. Anyway, also special thanks to Yosef Billyack for all his efforts. By Joel Mizrahi, and Miriam, our dear friend, but Gold Samler on her second yard side. Listen to this. We have women who inspired many of us to start learning Daf Yomi. This is in Tinek. I gave a shir there one time. Joel Mizrahi. Leiiluy Nishmas, Roshana Malko, Baz, Binyamin, Yaakov, Shama, should have an aliyah. One quick one from Zephroin. First of all, thanks for the shir. It changed my day, and I had a Cyrus to give up WhatsApp, YouTube on my phone. I'd like to ask, is there any way I can listen to this shir by phone or get the video by email? Because I do not want to give up the shir if he gives up his phone. Thanks, Chazaku Baruch. Yes, there is a phone number. It's for Kol HaLashon. I don't know what it is. Maybe Yosef will put it on the screen. Emir Hashem, by the end of the day, says Gary, we're going to have a 718 number so you could call in locally. I didn't know that up until now it's not. Okay. This is Israeli number, but he's in America. These guys are in America. The Seder. Be'ezer Hashem, by the end of today, there'll be a 718 number for Kol HaLashon, call in. There is a Zoom call in, but then you have to be up at this time. Akiva, what's in that cup on the edge? I'm just curious. Is that hot? Is that a hot drink? Not over there. Yeah, not a good idea. Yeah, shkoyach. Okay. It's one thing that you're on the edge, but a hot cup of I don't know what. Yeah. You gotta have your priorities straight. Okay. Rabbi said we're holding Daf Yud Beis Amud Beis. Today's Daf Yud Gimel. And we're holding by the Gemara. So saying that there's a second set of Tanesim, there's no Rechitza, Sicha, Tashmishamita, as the Gemara. Bishlam Kulu is Butainog. I can understand something that's pleasurable, Rechitza, Sicha, Tashmishamita. Ava Malacha Tzaru. You hear? Going to work, not learning Torah is a pain. Shalom Aleichem, how are you? I missed you. It's a tsar. Omer Rav Chizda, Omer Rav Yirmiyah Bar Abba, Omer Kro. Kachu Tzoim, Kiru Atzara. You prepare a fast day, Kiru Atzara. You call in a gathering, Isvu Skenim, gather up the Skenim for this fast. But it says the word Atzara. And the Gemara learns Ka'atzeres. What do we call Atzeres? Shavuos, and also Shmini Atzeres. Those two are Atzeres. Ma Atzeres, Osur Ba'asiyas Malacha. Where do we get this Atzeres? It should be Fakert. It should be, you have to go to work. You have to work, you have to be B'tzar. No. Just like Yantev, Shavuos, and Shmini Atzeres, there's no Malacha. Avtainis Osur Ba'asiyas Malacha. As the Gemara, Ima Atzeres Miurta, the Isser Malacha is from the night. You can't do any Malacha on Shavuos night when everybody goes to shul and learns all night. You're not doing Malacha then. So on a fast also, the Isser Malacha should be from the night before. Why does it start in the morning? Avtainis Nami Miurta. Omer Reb Zeri L'didim Parashalim Yinei the Reb Yirmiyah Bar Abba Omer Kro. Isvu Skenim. It's a time that you gathered the elders. Dumidasiv Skenim. Masiv Skenim Bayoim. After Nam Bayoim. The elders don't gather around at night. Ask the Gemara. If we're talking about the elders gathering around, when do they gather around? They don't gather in the morning, really. They typically gather in the afternoon. Says the Gemara, this actually proves a point that Rav Huna says, they actually do gather in the morning, and that's why this malacha starts in the morning. Why do they gather in the morning? So if you're going to divide the day from the morning to the evening, let's say it's 12 hours, so we're going to divide the first half of the day until chatzos. So the first half of the day till chatzos. We're going to look into what's going on in the city. Meaning, we need to check out. Are people conducting business properly? Are they stealing from one another? Is there gezel? Is there chamas? What's going on here? Why do we have a drought? Mikam veilach, riva de yoima. Now we have another 6 hours left. So a quarter, 3 hours, riva de yoima, karinam besifra va'aftarta. That's where we go to shul and we lein vayechal Moshe and we lein the haftarah. What's the haftarah? Boy said bal peh. How does it start? Very good. Wrong! You're all wrong. Look at Rashi. Last line. Dirshu es Hashem b'matzai. There's an S in there. He's wrong also. No. So what's interesting is, I don't know if I should say the name of the sefer, but this is a sefer, Arugas Aboisim, that made a whole shot on this S. Why the pasuk says S? It shouldn't say S. At the end of the day, it doesn't say S in the pasuk. Rashi just brings it. But it was interesting that the Arugas Aboisim has a whole Dvar Torah, and it's almost like a Purim Torah. Those Rabbanim that make up a Torah. The Gemara, but Master says this, and it doesn't really exist. Fine. There's a whole shtickle on it. Fine. Should I tell you the story about me learning the Torah in Panovich, Yeshiva Ktana, which I probably just said? Why not? I was, I don't know, like maybe 13, 14 years old, and however it was, every guy in the shir, because it's shir gimel, every guy got a week to lane. My lucky week was a fast. So I'm preparing this for months. Like, I had to be perfect, and all these guys come and they kvetch you. So the guy came over to me. I remember exactly what it was. He says, terrible. Because you said, Lama Hashem, it's not Lama, it's Lama. Yeah, it's Lama, not Lama. So anyway, that was the thing. He was very disappointed in the laning. Is it Lama? Yosef? No, it's Lama. It is. He's right. It's Lama. He was right. And from that day on, from the day I'm 13, look it up in your sit over there. No, in the laning. Lama. The emphasis is on the mem. Anyway, fine. Fine. Mikam veilach, the last 3 hours. That's when we daven. Shenemar veikumu alam davikru b'sefer Torah Hashem Elokeim revius hayoim revius mizvadim u'shtachim Hashem Elokeim. So the final quarter we daven a lot. Says the Gemara, maybe flip it around. Who said what part of the day we daven? Those who fear Divrei Elokei Yisrael. Al-mal ba'hagoyla. Uchsiv, and then it says, u'b'minchas ha'erev. In the evening, kamti mitanesi. That's when I'm about to finish. Ve'ever zochapai el Hashem. That's the final time in the day. That's when ve'ever zochapai. Remember, you go like this. The Zohar says you shouldn't do it. And it's a problem. Okay, fine. It's chukas hagoyim. Some say that's why we don't do it. Okay. Omar Rafram Barabba Omar Rav Chizda. Oh yeah. Omar Rafram Bar Papa. Omar Rav Chizda. Koil Shuhu Mishum Evel. A fast that the Isra Chitza. We're talking about Isra Chitza now. Why can't we bathe if it's Mishum Evel? So if you're not bathing because of pleasure, but what type of fast is it? It's an Evel fast. Going Tisha B'Av. Va'aveil, and a person who's an aveilus, so you're not allowed to have pleasure on Tisha B'Av. You're not allowed to have pleasure when a person is an avel. The Bach points out Yom Kippur is a deraisa, so we're not even talking about that. It might be an union of pleasure. You can't have pleasure, but it's Yom Kippur. It's a deraisa, according to most, according to the Bach. But We're talking about Tisha B'Av. That's the Rabbanon, not the bathe. And Avelus. Asur bein b'cham and bein b'tzoyna. Okay? So you can't bathe even in cold water. Kol shum mishum tainog ki going tainis tzibur. But if it's a tainis tzibur and you're not allowed to bathe because of pleasure in a tainis tzibur, b'cham and also b'tzoyna mutter. Comes Rav Chizda, drops a bomb. He says, on a tainis tzibur, we're fasting for the rain, you're permitted to bathe with cold water. Now, Tosfos points out, and this is how it's brought down, la'alacha, that on the fast days, we only have Tisha B'Av, as the Gemara said yesterday, we paskin, like Shmuel, I think it was, only Tisha B'Av is the one that we go with all those, the chumras of bathing and that. But other fast days, what about Asar B'Tevis? The day we are flying to London. Are you allowed to bathe on Asar B'Tevis? So, l'chatchila, they say that l'chatchila, I mean, Mikra Adin you could, but a Baal Nefesh shouldn't. And it's based on this Tosfos. Brings Rebbe Yoel here. You shouldn't. Fine. What? You know you're allowed to? Where? Over there in your neighborhood over there? Let's go. Talking about this neighborhood, my friend. What's a Baal Nefesh? This neighborhood, Baal Nefesh. That neighborhood not. I don't know. Baal Nefesh, person that wants to be machmer himself, person that wants to act with Kedusha, and not just be mizalzel. I don't know what a Baal Nefesh is. Saying, not mizalzel. If you want to be a Baal Nefesh, you want to take upon yourself and be a holy yid, figure it out yourself. It seems like you're anti this. What's the problem? Listen, this is the first kasha you had since the beginning of Shas. Obviously, it means a lot to you. So take a shower. Don't be a Baal Nefesh. What do you want from me? We'll talk about a Baal Nefesh later. Me and you could take showers. We're not the highest Baal Nefesh. Fine. Mati, you could join us. Fine. Could go in tiny. What? It's machlokes. Go in tiny sibur b'cham masu b'tzayim mutter. Omer avidi beravin. Avanan nemi tanino. V'noy l'zamechet learned. Oh, so he brings a raya that it's only hot water you can't take a shower with, because it says you lock up the bathhouse. Bathhouse has hot water, but you're not locking up anything else. Doesn't make sense what you're saying. What else are they going to lock up? Where are you going to bathe if you want cold? In the river. So I found a picture. Guy tried to lock up the river. You lock up the river, shkoyach. So I could come in from this way. I could go in this, and I could even go through your gate. What are you locking up exactly? It's not a bathhouse. One key in Shlomo Yisrael. You can't lock up a river. So obviously that's why he said you lock up the bathhouse. Don't bring a raya from there that's only hot water, and the cold water you could. Omer Rav Shisha B'Reder Rav Idi says, the son of Rav Idi, who said this halacha, my father said beautiful, and it is beautiful. If you look in the Mishnah starts off, says, already says asur berechitza. And then the Mishnah doubles up its lashon and says, let's lock up the bathhouses. Rechitza means anything, cold and hot. And the fact that the Mishnah doubles it up and says, lock it up, means I'm going to take part of it. I'm showing you what part of the rechitza is asur. Otherwise, just leave it at rechitza. Rechitza is asur, and I would know from that, you're not allowed to bathe in cold, you're not allowed to bathe in hot, Shlomo Yisrael. But the fact that the Mishnah says, but you lock up the bathhouse, is coming to tell me that I'm trying to explain what the word rechitza means. Rechitza is only hot. My father said, beautiful. I have a raya. Unbelievable halacha. Somebody has to go to the mikveh midiraisa. They push off. They go on Yom Kippur, on Tisha B'Av. Don't get excited. Bizmanenu doesn't exist anymore, because those who go to the mikveh midiraisa are already counting days that are not midiraisa. It's not the real tefillah day. It's chumras. So you might as well push it off another day. If in the time of the Gemara that they were makbet 7 clean days and then they go to, fine. So you go to the mikvah on a Yom Kippur. You go to, but not today. Okay. I don't know. I'm just saying that's brought down halacha that today we don't do this. There's people that take showers Taanis. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just, again, don't pass him based on me. Do not pass him based on what I say. This is what I saw. You look in the halacha yourself. I'm not a rabbi. Now, listen to this. The Gemara understands that there's no such thing as a hot mikvah. Why? How do you get hot water into the mikvah? They didn't have the heater system there. You're taking a pot of hot water. You're filling up a pot. By you filling up the pot, it becomes shu'uvin. You have to have rainwater in this shu'uvim. It's from the faucet because it's already gathered. It's gathered in a pot. And then you're pouring it in. So you can't really have a hot mikvah. A lav b'tzainen. So it has to be talking about a cold mikvah. And it says, v'chayav tfilas in a shechrin Eloi. Who's allowed to use a very cold mikvah on Yom Kippur, on Tishba? Only the ones that are chai b'deraisa. But a person that's not chai, you're not allowed to. Now, just real quickly, the Rishonim talk about whether or not you're allowed to heat up a mikvah, period. Did you know about this, Tomer? Tomer knows about this. Tomer checked out my mikvah. He's okay, I shouldn't even say what he does. He's into mikvahs. He makes his parnas on a mikvah. So, I wasn't really aware of this. It's a chiddush. There's a problem heating a mikvah. We go to a mikvah today, everything's hot, and there's 3 types of heat. There's very hot, medium hot, the fancy mikvahs. Could you heat up a mikvah? Some Rishonim say, mamish aser. In fact, one of the Sfarim brought down that in the year Tov Kuf Chav Gimel, what is that, 150 years ago in Yerushalayim, somebody decided he's opening up a hot mikvah. You could imagine what happened in Yerushalayim. The stones, the this, Hafganas, shut him down immediately. So up 150 years ago, people didn't have hot mikvahs. But then it became more and more prevalent. In Tzfat, the Rabbanim said it's a sakana not to have a hot mikvah. So they started coming in. Once it came in, the Ramah says you should be makbid. Ramah, we go by the Ramah. So Sfardim are very makbid. I don't know how they do today. It seems like Sfardim are more makbid. The Ramah says you should be makbid. However, in a place that they already have hot mikvahs, you go, I didn't even know it's an issue. I thought you just go into mikvah and finish. Shalom Yisrael. What's the problem? The problem is that people are going to go into a bathhouse. They're going to go into a regular swimming pool. Here's a hot one and here's a hot one. What's the difference? Okay, so that's that. The Balatanya is one of the strongest ones to say that you should have a hot mikvah because first of all it's dangerous not, but also he was concerned that people that go into a cold mikvah, they do it very quickly. They're cold. You ever go into the Arizal? They go, yeah. So you might not be careful. You might not be toivel completely. So Mele said you should do a hot mikvah. Fine. Just as a ha'ara. We're talking, there is a mikvah that's hot. You know where? The hot springs of Tveria. Now, this, by the way, this is my favorite picture. If you watched Meaningful People, I brought it. I had to show it to them. This is, anytime I say Chami Tveria, I love this picture. What's Chami Tveria? What? You also love? That's right, the monkeys. Here we go. It's unbelievable. In Japan, they have these hot springs, and it's snowing. It's like in Denver. You go to Denver and you sit in the jacuzzi outside and it snows on you, but you don't feel anything because you're in the hot. You shouldn't know about it. We shouldn't talk about it. It's Loig LaRoche. You can't go skiing this year. Here's another one. I updated the picture. Here you could see the steam coming out of the water, and this guy's mamish chruping away. If you ever go to the mikveh, Zupnik, this is what happens over there. You see the guys, this is how they are. He's out cold. It's like, Reb Yid, I got to use the mikveh. That's why maybe it's awesome. All right, weiter. Ihachi, Ema Seifa, Amr Chanina, Zgana Kayanim. I never went to Zupnik in my life. I'm imagining. Ihachi, Ema Seifa, Amr Chanina, Zgana Kayanim, Kedaihu, Beisalikenu, La'abid Olav, Tfila, Pamachas B'Shana. That's good for you, not for us, guys. So, Reb Chanina Zgana Kayanim. By the way, this is a tidbit. Why is his name Chanina Zgana Koyanim? His name should be Chanina Zgana Koyan. He was second in command to the Koyan. Why Koyanim? Because we learned in Yuma that there was 300 Koyanim, and who remembers? There was so many Koyanim that died. Every year, new Koyan Gadol. And he was the Zgan for everybody. So he's the Zgan of the Koyanim. But anyway, Kedaihu Beisalikenu Labidol of Tfilah Pamachas B'Shana. Now, he says very, very, very simple. If you could go to the mikvah on Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur in the cold mikvah. So why does Chanina's Gan HaKohanim say that, Reb Chanina's Gan HaKohanim say that it's a proud, one day a year we're not going to the mikvah? What do you mean? You could go to the mikvah, go in the cold. You're not even losing a day. He says, it's kedai to commemorate the Churban Abayis. We're not going to go to the mikvah one day a week. Not true. You could go even that day in the cold. It's a place, there's no such thing as cold. It's a hot, it's in Israel in the summer. We're going to get a cold mikvah. There's no such thing. So it goes like this. We have 3 halachas here. These are the 3 halachas in red. The Isser Malacha, that you can't do Malacha, is during the day. The Isser of wearing shoes is only in the city. And the Isser of bathing yourself is your entire body. And then it says, and the same applies to somebody who's a Nidui and somebody who's Ba'avelis. Let's see inside. And I'll show you why I did this chart just for Stam, to make it easier. He goes out on the way, he puts on his shoes. As soon as he comes in the city, you see sometimes women, they go with their heels, they walk a long distance with their flats, they don't want to catch with the flats. As soon as they come to the whatever, they switch it out. Okay, fine. This is what they do here. Now, by the way, I just want to point out that Rashi here says, let's read it inside, because maybe I'm not allowed to say this. So Rashi says, 8 lines from the bottom, Mashma says Rashi, 8 lines from the bottom. Over here it seems like you're allowed to do malacha on Tisha B'Av night. Don't tell anybody about this halacha. In fact, we don't pass it like this. We pass in that you're not allowed to do malacha, and there's actually a steer in Rashi's. What's very, very interesting is some people say that this whole Rashi on our Masech is not Rashi. There's a lot of funny things in Rashi here. He says a lot of like two pshatim, doesn't say which one he likes better. A lot of halachas, if you look in the bottom here, it says, la halacha, we do like this. La halacha, it's not his style so much. But anyway, some people say it's not even Rashi. Fine. But there's a big steer in Rashi. But I thought it's cool. Don't tell anybody about this halacha. I'm not telling anybody, I'm just reading it straight out of Rashi. And then it says, this blue halacha, and the same halacha applies. These 3 things apply to somebody that's in a nidui, they put him in a cherem, and all. My lav akulu. This blue goes in all these reds. And what are we talking about? We're talking about hot water. Could Oval wash his face? If it's hot, Oval can't even put his finger, dip his finger into hot water. So it's not like Rav Chizdu says he could wash his whole body in cold water. Cold water, the whole body says. Look, the top of the Amud, right? 5 lines down. Omar Rav Chizda, Kol Shum Shum Ovel. B'tzoyne mutter, he says. 2, 4, 6, 8 lines from the top. B'tzoyne mutter. You're allowed to wash your whole body if you're navelos. This says that navelos you can. This blue box only goes with these 2 red boxes. It doesn't go with this one. It's not talking about rechitza at all. V'chei menuda is talking about the issa malacha, shouldn't do malacha, only the daytime, and an aval shouldn't wear shoes. When it comes to rechitza, perhaps he could bathe in cold water. Tashma the Omer Reb Abba Kohen, Mishur Reb Yosef Kohen. Maisu Banav Shur Reb Yosef ben Rabbi Chanina. 2 sons of Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Chanina died. V'rochatz b'tzonin kol shiva, and he bathed in cold water. So you see, he could bathe in cold water like Rav Chizda. Says the Gemara, don't bring a rye from there. Hasam kishetchafuhu avolov hava. What happened was, one son died, and the oilam started, he didn't take a shower, and then his second son died. And that's a problem. It's back-to-back avelos. And especially if you don't bathe for 30 days. And it's like impossible. You can't exist like that. So you make a special heter when it's back-to-back avelos. We allow him to bathe in cold water. But don't bring a riot to anybody else. It says Mufurish, Meisu Banav, his sons died. 2 sons. The sign to Chafu Avolav, Zachazeh, If he has very long hair, in such a case, back to back avelos loyalenu mekel betar. Didn't we have tzipper? First his father, then his mother's. It wasn't, but maybe year to year. Okay. So you use a razor. It's not how you usually take a haircut. It's a shinoi, and it doesn't take off that much. And you could wash your clothing. It's not, the stench is going to be unbearable. And he says, only with a razor, not with a scissor. And you shouldn't wash your body with like mud. Here, I have a picture of boy saying, don't get shocked. I got Rishus to show this picture. It's a bunch of Hasidim dressed. Okay, don't get nervous. This is what it looks like when you bathe in mud. I was wondering, why would somebody bathe in mud? Well, it's a geschmacka thing to do, obviously. This is in Yam HaMelach. Where? What part? Maybe, but for the bechol, I don't think so. The dirt, that's what it says? No, because we learned already before that you bathe in some. It could be, but it's good for the picture anyway. Let's see. Yeah, I hear. Maybe. So should we tear up the picture? What does the art scroll say? Anybody? Art scroll? No. What? Yeah. They're washing the clothes. That's why I showed you. They're washing the clothes. Very good. Very good. Yishkoyach. I told you should speak up. Save me. Save my day. Here, Sanachamol. They're washing their clothing with mud. This is the best way to do it. Why? You just roll around in the mud. It's a beautiful picture. Now it makes a lot more sense. Omar Rava. Says Rava, we have two Lashonis in Rava, so pay attention. Avel could wash his entire body in cold water, just like Avel could eat meat and wine. By the way, somebody asked me, I got a number of emails. I thought, the Ramban says, so it's a good kasha, but when I spoke about the Maseches Taanis, the Maseches Taanis asked the question. The Maseches Taanis himself brings how do you explain it? Okay, so we have to go into it. Is it what's considered a tzorech? L'chayra tzorech. He says any type you have. I didn't say go ahead. Any type you have, if it's something that's going to bother you, it's something that you, if you don't do it, you're going to be thinking about it. That's a tzorech. That's what the Olam says. That's I spoke to some Rabbanim here. That's tzorech. So if it's a taiva stam, I want to drink a wine. Why? Because I feel like it. That's what's awesome. Now, I'm just saying what the Maseches Taanis says, and it could be there's machlokes in it, but he brings up this concept of kaddish hazim mutulach. It's not a okay. One of the Rabbanim said that kaddish hazim mutulach is like going on a cruise. But what do you need it for? You don't need it. It's not you want to go and you want to be fresh by the buffet. That's, by the way, not the cruise for the seal. Cruise for the seal is the L'tzarech mitzvah. That's 100% mutter, and that's why we're waiting some years. But that's something else. Okay, fine. Oh. Meisvei. Ein habegeris rashal l'navelis atzmo b'mei evil ovil. A girl who comes of age of shidduchim, she has a problem. Now, exactly what evil ovil means, Rashi brings two pshatim. Either her father is in avelos, and people are going to see her in the shiva house, and she's in shidduchim. She has to look good. She can't stam let herself go. Nivul, mamish disgusting. Or she's sitting shiva for her own father. Shidduchim. Now, Lamaisa, one thing I mamish hate. I hate, like, the guy comes into the shiva house. He says, I'm really sorry. Your wife, it's very painful. Your wife was just nifty yesterday. But, my neighbor, only divorced twice. Unbelievable woman. I think it's a good time to talk about the shidduch. That is a problem. And that's what we're talking about here. Shidduchim during Avel. And also, by the way, you're probably going to downsize because you don't have a wife anymore. So maybe you want to sell me your house. I was looking in this neighborhood. Ayin Sham in that video, my favorite video. Anyway, things not to say during Shiva. Yeah, sponsors. But it's a bit of a problem. But here we're talking about in the Avel's house, and she has to look presentable for Shidduchim. Rav Zilshin talks about this, that should the girl, should she dress up, for Shidduchim, and there's people here in Yisroel, I don't understand it at all. So maybe somebody can explain to me. Pay a kala $1,000 not to put on makeup at her chasana. These kind of things. There's an organization that pays $1,000. So Rav Zilshin says that it's on the bacharim, on the guys, not to look, but she's in shidduchim, she has to do what she has to do. Ha narasha. So my love, berachitza. Begeres cannot or shouldn't, if she talks about it, shouldn't refrain from bathing. Naira, somebody before that is allowed to not bathe. My love, berachitza. We're talking about how you menavel, not menavel, bathing and not bathing. It says that a younger girl that's not in shidduchim, she doesn't bathe. So so even we're talking about even in cold water. Says Gemara loy akichol pirchos. Yeah, I'm going to get there in a second. What we're talking about refraining over here. Mazda. I have no idea what it says. Okay. We're talking about akichol of pirchos. What she's not menavel. This begeres who's in shidduchim. We're not talking about rechitza. You can't bring a raya from rechitza. We're talking about makeup, doing her hair, things like that. But other avelim are allowed to do rechitza. Don't bring a raya that only she's allowed to do rechitza and the younger one not. No, everybody's roichetz, like Rav Chizda said, in cold water. What she could do that others can't do is things like makeup. The younger one can't, and she could because she's in shidduchim. Sponsored by Adam Vales in memory of my mother, Gail F. Rathner, Avigail Gidelbat, Pesach v'Chava Rivka, and sponsored anonymously as a schus for shidduchim for my siblings and myself. Talking about shidduchim and turning the page. Fine. Shidduchim. Go to the Shiva house, the shidduchim over there. We had this Gemara already. We had it on Amud Aleph. His sons died. You see, you're allowed to bathe in cold water. Was back to back avelos, and that's the special heter. Right, word for word. This is a freebie. Make up a tire if you have a lot of hair. He cuts it off with a razor. Only in a razor, not with a scissor. You should wash your clothing. Huh? Right. Is like, I don't know, aloe or something. Who knows what it is? It's a type of grass. Okay, no, isn't aloe a type of grass? It's a leaf. Okay. I guess I was just confusing with another Gemara. There was a Gemara that said that they used to bathe in dirt, in sand. Okay, we'll have to find it. Then the guy's going to say, no, it doesn't say it. Fine. I can say whatever I want now. Nobody knows. The bells is not here. There's a Gemara that says people used to bathe with dirt. Great. Next. So now Rav is saying the opposite. Before he said Oval could bathe in cold water. No, Oval cannot bathe. Another shita in what Rav said. Oval should not bathe in cold water. He's allowed to mamish fresh a steak. His loved one just died and he's eating steak with wine. Terrible. Hasam lifa kuche pachte hu ovid. It's a stress relief. A person who's in avelos has different anxieties, different things, and he's just trying to take off the edge. That's it. But bathing doesn't take off the edge. I have a raya in a begeres shol navalatzmo honayrisha b'may. Same gemara that we had on top of the Amud. What is she allowed to bathe herself with this one in shidduchim in a begeres shol? Sorry. So you see that she is mutter in cold, but the sister's also in cold. So you're not allowed. Mamish like Rava said. Rava says you're not allowed to bathe in cold. Over here you see that nobody's allowed to bathe in cold. Only a girl that's in shidduchim. Loi akichulu pirchos. Everybody's allowed to bathe, perhaps, but what the Gemara is saying that the girl in shidduchim is allowed to do makeup and hair, but not the other ones. Omer Rav Chizda zoisimeres. If you're saying that everybody's also to do makeup, so it's something external. Avel aser b'tich boises kol shiva. So therefore, it would come out that you're not allowed to dry clean your clothes, you're not allowed to wash your clothes. Why? It's an external thing. It's almost like makeup. It goes on the exterior. It beautifies a person. That's awesome. The hilchas, so now we go into halachas. Hilchas avel asur lurchayz kol gufay bein becham bein mitzayim. Avel is not permitted to wash his body with cold water. Kol shiva. Avel panav yad raglov becham and asur b'tzayim mutar. He's permitted to wash just his face, his hands, and his feet. Avel lasuch, to anoint oneself with oil. Afilu kol shu asur. You're not allowed to even on your face. Bimla aber es hazuma. If he has dirt and he's just trying to remove the dirt, mutar. Fine. That's the end of the sugya. A brand new sugya. It's like nun Masechta here. It's loisa the tanisa heiche matkirina. The tefillah that we say on a fast day, anenu. Where do we say it? You open up the siddur. It's interesting. You have both of these here in the siddur, both of these things, but one is for the yachid and one is for the tzibur. Adberei says the Gemara. Adberei Rav Yehuda Rav Yitzchak berei v'dorash. Rav Yehuda took his son Rav Yitzchak and he went out for spatzir and he gave him a little drasha. Yachid should give a lot of taanis mispal shel taanis. An individual who accepted upon himself a taanis. It's not that it's not raining outside. He wants to fast, so he says anenu. And where should he say it? He tells his son Rav Yitzchak ben goyal l'roife. You look over here, article siddur. Here you have Goyal Yisrael. Over here you have Refuah. Smack in the middle you have Anenu. And in fact it has its own bracha. Baruch Hashem, ha'ayna beis tzara. It's its own bracha. 7, 8, you stick in another one. Right over here. Now if it says here in little, it says in, right over here, this is for the chazan. So don't get, right now he's saying that a yachid does it. Okay, I'm just saying there is such a thing as this tefillah right over here. Ask the Gemara. He himself decided he's going to fast, he's going to be a good yid, whatever the reason is, he has to be mechaper averi. He said you can do it for that. So for an individual, he's sticking in Shemona Esrei, a new bracha. Instead of Shemona Esrei, now you have going to Shai Esrei, you're going to have 19 brachas. Says the Gemara, yeah, you're right. It's not its own bracha. And here you have again from the art scroll. Here's Shemei Tefillah. There's no Baruch Atah Hashem. No. Instead of saying your Tefillah, Anein Hashem. What's at the end? L'chol eis tzar v'sukkah u'mamshich ki atah Shemei. Don't say those words. Mamshich, yeah. Ki atah Shemei Tefillah. You just say the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. It's part of Shemei Tefillah. Instead of saying Hashem, like that guy said, give me many, many cars. So you say Aneinu. But it's not a special bracha. It's in Shemei Tefillah. Shemei Tefillah, you can say whatever you want there. It's the most preferable place to ask Hashem for things. So you're talking about Aneinu. Ask a kash. So, kasha. The only difference between a yachid and a tzibur is that the tzibur davens 19. The yachid doesn't do anything. Now, Rashi just points out, the famous Rashi, if you look, you count the brachas that we say. How many brachas do we say? 19. So why is it called Shemona Esrei? So Rashi says because the Lamalshina was added later. But other Rishonim argue on Rashi, and they say that the Lamalshina is actually there when they were masakin this Gemara happened, or the whole. They say Es Tzemach and Boin Yerushalayim are actually one bracha. That's what they say. But okay, today we have 19. Says the Gemara, Ma Yachid u'May Tzibur. Well, the Gemara continues the question. Ma Yachid u'May Tzibur. So now we could say that Yachid and Tzibur means within the same fast, you have the individual guy and the guy davening for the Amud. The guy davening for the Amud is called a Tzibur. He's the Shliach Tzibur. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, Hani Chaisrei, as we're going to see, for the Tzibur, this is on Daf Tesvav, one of the longest Mishnahs you'll ever see in your life. It starts on Amud Aleph, ends on Amud Beis somewhere. It's going to take up the whole day. It says in that Mishnah, you add another 6 brachas. It's not 19. Now it becomes 24. We're talking about individual and individual. There is an individual that accepts upon himself the churmas of a tzibur, and the individual is going to accept upon himself a tainus, an easy tainus, like a yachid. Two different Tanesim, but we're not talking about a Shliach Tzibur. We're talking about the Yachid himself. The guy that accepted upon himself the Chumrah like a Tzibur, he says 19 brachas. The guy that's like a Yachid is 18. Shma Mino, Yachid, Chiveya, Bracha La'atzmai. You see that a Yachid who accepted upon himself a Taanis like a Tzibur, how many brachas does he say? 19. So he had a bracha. Leiiluy Tzibur. Going back to the first pshat. We're talking about a guy's davening. The whole shul here are all a bunch of Yechidim. The guy standing in the front, he's Mr. Tzibur. He's different. He has 24 brachas. It says in the next daf, he has 24. No. No, sorry. Begimel Taanis Rishaynos. We're talking about the first three. There's 3, 3, and 7. The first 3 fast days. The Lekes from V'arba, nobody has 24, only the 19. We'll continue from here tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. Have a wonderful day.